everyone, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I thank you guys for your love and for your support. If you are new to the channel, you're highly and very welcome. If you have not subscribed, please guys, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also on the side to get an update whenever I upload a new video. Okay guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a princess dart top or a princess dart blouse, off shoulder princess dart rather. So that's what we're going to learn how to do today. So it is a very simple process. I'm going to make it a very simple video for you guys, so for beginners you guys will be able to grasp it. Okay guys, so for a long time I've not showed my face, so that's why I decided to make this video today and then show you guys my beautiful face. Okay guys, so if you want to register for my online classes, you can just see my number scrolling through the screen. Send me a message on WhatsApp. I'll give you the details of the classes we have presently available, and then you can follow me on all of my social media platforms: Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, all at Stylish Naija. Okay guys, so in today's video, so this is the fabric that I'm going to be making use of. So it's just a top body, so I'm going to be making use of 1.5 yard of fabric, and then these are the measurements that we're going to be making use of for this video. So I don't know if you can see it clearly. So we have the bust measurement here is 42, so you divide 42 into 4, we have 10.5, and then the second measurement is the under bust, you divide into, which is 34, you divide into 4, I have 8.5, and then the next measurement is the waist measurement, which is 35, you divide into 4, you have 8.75, and then the last measurement is the shoulder measurement. This we're going to divide, which is 16, this we're going to divide into 2. So the next thing now, we're going to draft on our pattern paper and make all of the alterations, and then before we transfer to the fabric. So guys, please, if you find this video helpful, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button. Actually it takes nothing, just hit on the like button to support me. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Okay guys, so I have my pattern paper here. So now we're going to start drafting, inputting all of our measurements just like I explained to you. So the first thing, so I have 2 pattern papers, so I'll just keep this for the back piece. I'll keep it on the side. So let's work on the front piece first. So I have some basic lines here which I'm going to explain to you. So this first line that I have here is my shoulder line. So this is going to serve as our shoulder line. It's like a start-up line, and then since it is an off shoulder, I'm dropping it with 5 inches. So I'll take out 5 inches from my original measurement. So that's 5 inches already out, and then I have my bust point, which is 11. So this is our bust point line, and then we have our under bust. So I'll just place my tape nicely. So I have my under bust here, which is 16, and then I have my half cut line, which is 20.5. This is half cut or waist, you can use either. And then I just added, this is just like 3 inches allowance that I'm just going to include on my pattern. So that's just that. It is a simple process. So the next thing now, we're working with the shoulder. So our shoulder now, we're going to divide our shoulder into 2. We have 16 inches. We're dividing it into 2, which is 8 inches. So I'm still going to go ahead. I'll take out 1 inch rather from that measurement for the shoulder. But if you want a shoulder that is very tight, you can go ahead and take out 2 inches from it. So I'll use 7 inches here like this. So the next thing I'm going to do now, just add 1/4 of an inch allowance to it, which is just okay. So the next thing I'm going to do now, take out my armhole area from this pattern. So for my armhole, I'm using 8 inches, which is 16 for my armhole. So I'll connect it like this. So you note, because of the 5 inches, so you are not going to just put your tape like this and mark armhole. You are going to get it wrong. So I'll mark it like this. So I'll just curve it out nicely into that point like this. So that's for my armhole. So the next thing now, we're going to input all of these measurements into our pattern. So our 10.5 for our bust divided into 4. Okay guys, so after marking out our armhole, the next thing we're going to take out now from this pattern, we're going to mark our dart. So for the dart, we're going to use the bust span measurement. So for the bust span measurement, we're using 9 inches. So you divide 9 inches into 2, you have 4.5 5 inches. So I'll just add half of an inch to it to give me 5 inches. So I'm going to just mark that 5 inches all across my lines, and then I'll connect it with a straight ruler like this. It is a very simple process. So I'll connect it with a ruler, and then the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to mark out our dart, because it is a bustier pattern. So our dart, we're going to take our dart now to this side. So in taking out the dart, so I'll take 2.5 inches. I'll come to this under bust part. I'll mark 2.5 inches here, and then after marking the 2.5 inches here, I'll come to this point now, put my tape here for this one. I'll put it on 1 inch, and then I'll mark here, and then I'll mark here. That's, I came up 1 inch and then 1 inch downwards. Why I'm doing this? Because I want to curve out. I want this to curve out nicely. So that is why I'm doing that. So I'll just mark the dots into it nicely, into the under bust part, and then I'll come to the armhole area. So for my armhole, what I have here, I'll just take half of what I have. So I have about 3 inches, and then this is 1.5 inches. So from that 1.5 inch, I'm just going to go ahead. I'll do this now, and then mark this out nicely. So I'll mark it nicely so you can see what we have. So on this side, I'm going to extend this mark. I'll extend it by 2 inches because I don't want my pattern to get truncated after cutting. So I'll extend it. So all of these lines now, I'll just shade them nicely. And then the next thing now, this is my 2.5 inches here. I'm going to mark it to the down part like this. So I'll just extend the dart, my dart leg. I'll extend it to this point. So you can see that we are done. So I'll curve this out nicely. Okay, because it is an off shoulder, so that's why you see the curve is looking so defined. So the next thing now, we're going to insert all of our full body measurements back into our pattern. So for the under bust, we're using 34, which is 8.5. So I'm going to come to this point. Okay, before then, I'm sorry, the bust measurement, which is 10.5. So I'll come to this point like this, and then I'll mark my 10.5. So this is my 10.5, and then I'm going to add allowance to this. I'll add as much as 3 inches allowance to this. Why I'm adding it? Because I want to add boning to it. So because of that, I'll add as much as 3.5 inches allowance. So that 3.5 inches allowance from the armhole part, that top part, I'll just mark this out. So for this armhole, because I extended it, I'm going to curve this now into this point. I'll use this other pattern piece. So I don't want my armhole truncated, so that's why I added this extra. So after stitching, I'll still have enough allowance. So that's 10.5, and then the under bust, I'm using 8.5. So I'll come to this point like this. I'll place my tape like this. This is my 8.5. Remember, we took out 2.5 inches. Add back that 2.5 inches into your pattern, and then add stitching allowance. So for this one, I use 3.5 inches for the allowance. So for my under bust, I'll use 2.5. So I'll just connect it straight like this. The next thing we're going to mark now is our waist measurement. So for the waist, we're using 8.75. So I'll come to this point like this, and then I'll mark my 8.75, and then I'll add back my 2.5 inches allowance into my pattern, and then I'll add my allowance of 3 inches. So note, I use 3 inches here, and then the bust, and then on this side I use 2. I just want to double check. I use 2.5. Yes. So on this now, so we're going to mark this like this now to this point, so you can see how easy it is. So for the neckline, I'm not adding the neckline to it right now. So if you have been following me, you notice that I usually don't add my neckline. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the body frame first. So I use this body frame to cut out my back pattern. I just need the body frame also here. So for the back, because I'm going to add a zip to it, so I'm just going to place it like this, and then I'll cut this out. So the next thing, I'm going to cut out my dart. So I'll put the back piece on the side. So I'll cut this out right now, so you see. Okay, so this is my front pattern. So I'll put my fabric on fold and then cut this out. So that's for the front. So for the back, I'm going to add back. I'll add my back piece right now. So I just want to mark out my allowance point. That's my zip allowance point. And then I'll mark my dart like this. So for the back, it is a very simple process. So this is just what I do for my back pattern. I'll mark it like this, and then I'm going to take out, I'm going to cut this open right now. So this is going to serve for the back, and then on this side of the back, so for the back, I'm just going to take out 1 inch allowance from one side of the back piece, just 1 inch. This is what I usually do, and it works perfectly fine. So I'll cut out the back and then the front. So the next thing now, I'm going to place this on my fabric, and then I'll cut it out, and then I'll show you how to join it together. Okay guys, so you can see how it looks like. So I finished cutting it. So the next thing, I'll go and show you guys how to stitch this. So if you want to pad this, you can actually use all of your padding material. Just go ahead and pad it. So I'm going to pad mine. So I'll go ahead, I'll do that, and then I will show you how to stitch it together to get it out perfectly well. Okay guys, so welcome back to our sewing machine. So now we're going to stitch our princess dance blouse right now. So this is the back. So I've added the darts. So I'll just separate them like this. So I'm going to stitch one part of the back first for you to see, and then we'll stitch the front. So when stitching, most times when I stitch, I normally like stitching from the down part of my bodice for any bustier pattern. But if it's the neck that, I'll start from the top. Okay. So I'm just going to use about half of an inch to do my stitching. It's really not up to half of an inch though. Just like 0.75. So you can see now I'm stitching it effortlessly. You can see it's just going. So you can see how it looks. So it's just for me to take it back now and then give it a good ironing. If you want to do a top stitch, you can actually top stitch this. So that is okay. The next thing now, I'm going to stitch the front for us to see. Okay, so when stitching the front, I'm going to start stitching it from the down also. So you make sure that before you stitch, you make sure that you do all of the measurements. Make sure that your bust span, the point is the same, so you can see what I have, which is just perfect for me. So I'll take this like this now. Okay, so this is for this side, and then I'll turn them like this. I'll place them nicely on top, and then I will stitch, back stitch it, and then I'll just start stitching. So note, I'm not pulling anything, I'm just stitching it nicely. I don't want to pull it. And then once it gets to the curve, I'm just going to I'll just negotiate the curve nicely without pulling or pushing or whatever. Just can see how beautiful it is looking on one side. You can see the perfect roundness. So I'll do the other side right now. So you can see what I have. So I'll take it back to my machine and then I'll iron it. So I like how it is looking. So you can see how it is looking really perfect. So I'll go and iron it. Make sure that all of my lines are not looking rough, and then I'll stitch the other part of the back, and then we'll go back to the table and go and measure out the neckline. Okay guys, so you can see our off shoulder princess that blouse. So you see it came out fine. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to I'm going to cut out the neckline now. So for the neckline is actually a deep neckline. So I'll take this back to my ironing table and I want to iron it out. Okay guys, so I've ironed it down and then I've trimmed out all of my excess from my from this part now, from the sides rather. So the next thing now we're going to add the neckline. So for the neckline, I want to do a deep V neckline. So doing a deep V neckline, so I'm going to use about 10.5 inches. So this is my startup line. So I'll take out my 5 inches for my shoulder and then I'll mark the 10.5 here like this. So that 10.5, what I'm going to do from the shoulder part, I'm just going to curve this in into that point like this. So I hope you can see it. So I'll just curve it into the shoulder part like this. So that's for that. And then for the back, I'm going to go both the back and the front. I'll make them the same. So I'm going to cut them. So when I'm cutting, I don't want to cut it too directly. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll just cut it a little bit above. So the same thing I did, now I'm going to repeat it on the line. So I'll place the lining on it and then cut it out. Okay guys, so I finished cutting. So I finished trimming. So I'll take this back now to my machine and then I'll go and stitch. So I'm not doing an inseam finishing. So I'll just face them right side facing right side. And then I'll turn the neckline and then turn the side. So I'll do that to the front and the back. And then we are almost done with coupling of the blouse. Okay guys, so you can see what we have now. So I finished stitching. So you can see it, I've turned it out with my lining. So the next thing now is for me to take it back now to my machine and then take out my full body measurement. So this part, that's the shoulder part, that's where the armhole is going to be. So I'm just going to stitch it like this on this side using quarter of an inch, depends on the allowance that you are using. So I'll do that and then bring it back for you to see. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished stitching my blouse. So I've trimmed it to the length because I'm going to add a skirt to the down part. So I've done my trimming. So guys, I have now come, so for the sleeve, I'm not going to be doing the sleeve in this video, so you can add any sleeve of your choice. So thank you so much. I've come to the end of this video. If you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you.